Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. I'd like to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone and rule well. Peace and blessings and salutations to the whole elect. Lord in the gospel of God, lifting up the standard of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is another lesson. This is actually like the second part of the video that I did maybe 15 minutes ago. I had to cut it short because I was on my way to a location. I'm currently free, so we can go ahead and finish it off the lesson. Call Allah Yahweh Shemel Shah 144. That's the spirit. 2 1s and 2 4s. That's the spirit. Anyway, yep. So I'm gonna play some more of the video, and also there's a video about Whitney Webb that pretty much goes into this digital technocracy. Which, you know, I like Whitney Webb's videos because she gets information from credible sources and she does her research, and usually she's on point. So without further delay, here we go. I got a couple of precepts, maybe 2 that comes to mind, but I mean, you know, the video is going to speak for itself as to what the men of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai have been forecasting for some time, because the scriptures say, then you should know that their prophet have been among them. So at the end of the day, you people are going to be ashamed because you didn't take heed and hearken to the voice of the Heavenly Father and his men. So therefore, a lot of you are going to get caught out there because, once again, you didn't hearken. All right, scriptures say take heed, man. So anyway, let me play the video, get a couple of precepts, and that'll be that. So here we go.
ShopSelectBlinds.com. Primetime savings ending October 8th, and take 47.
It lays the groundwork for global medical surveillance of every human being.
So in today's video, I want to help explain exactly what this is, how it's going to work, how it's going to tie into our financial lives, and what you should be prepared for. So with that said, let's get into it. Hi, my name is Andre Jick. Hope you're doing well, cover the finance, and stay for digital IDs. So before I get into the details of how governments are planning to roll this out, let me first explain what a digital ID actually is, because I think when most people hear that, they just imagine it's a picture of your driver's license saved to your phone. And it kind of is that, but it's also a lot more than that. So a digital ID is a secure electronic form of ID that verifies who you are. Usually it's built on top of an app on your phone, and inside that app is all your personal information, which is then verified by a trusted...
Yep, hence, and this is why they are trying to push that real ID shit, which the real ID is not technically a digital token, but it's an actual ID, and you gotta have it in order to get on a plane. You see what I'm saying? Me personally, I'm on the edge of the fence about those things, you know, because I just don't like the fact real this, real that. I'm on the edge about it, you know, but it's not a sin if you get it, because I know certain brothers travel on plane, and I know certain brothers do have it. So, you know, it's just essentially an ID. But at the same time, you know, eventually to go to the DMV, you're gonna have to have that digital ID, man. All right, and even having a digital ID is not the chip, but you want to get yourself in a mindset that's preparing to not deal with that stuff, because, you know, they say a small convenience can turn into a lifetime of changes, man. And ultimately, we ain't with selling out the Heavenly Father for my conveniences, man. You know. So anyway, just wanted to put that out there.
Authority like a company or a government. But there is a big difference between the physical version and the digital one, because digital IDs use something called biometric data, which are things like your facial recognition or fingerprints, with cryptographic encryption, so they're a lot harder to fake. And once you've been verified, that ID becomes reusable. That means you don't have to keep handing over your passport or your license to different companies, or even go to the DMV. You can just share that specific piece of information that they need. So for example, if a bar needs to know that you're over 21, the app could just say, yes, this person is old enough, without necessarily revealing your exact details, your birthday, or your full ID number. So on paper, it sounds like a convenient thing to have. It's more secure, there's less information floating around, so less chance for fraud. But as you're about to find out, you're going to realize that when you centralize that much power, the question becomes, what can they do with it? Because while governments and tech companies present this as a convenient and secure thing to have, the actual way it's already being used in some countries is a very different story.
we're constantly recording, watching and recording everything that's going on. Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording and reporting everything that's going on.
Take China, for example. Just this summer, they launched their national digital ID app. But instead of it just being an upgrade from physical to digital, they tied it to their social credit system.
And see, that's where the trick begins, the social credit system, because social credit systems are put into place to deter whether you behave a certain way or not. Okay, so when you have a social, and this is basically what the whole Palantir shit is all about, the whole Gideon project and the Palantir, and then what's the other one called? It's called the Stargate project, which they put 500 billion in it. They already building data centers around it. They've dug the grounds on it, so these things can be up in a matter of months. Okay, I would say years, but it don't take them no time to build the big block in the wall, So yeah, things are really starting to illuminate themselves, and this is the elite's plan, okay? Because this is all about the New World Order. So the Palantir shit, all that will deter you, or that will put you in a system which determines your social credit score, whether you're eligible to partake in certain freedoms or certain privileges, as they call it, because to have a driver's license, which you have a right to travel, okay, but to have a license, that's considered a privilege. You're privileged to drive on the roads, you're privileged to pay taxes or all this other bullshit, man. That's why this man gotta go. This devil gotta go, man. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. This nigga gotta go. All right, he's doing too goddamn much. All right. Book of Job 5:12. It says, he disappointed the devices of the crafty so that their hands cannot perform the enterprise. Yep. Who is he that disappointed? The Most High. All right, the Lord ain't with this. Okay, this is just to get you undesirables out the way, so the Most High can be justified on bringing ICBM nuclear fire on your asses, man. Because if you take the chip, you are going to get destroyed. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no workaround. There's no, well, let me pull the chip out my ass at the last second before the last missile or the first missile drop. No, man. You get that chip, you out of there. Apostle Tar always joke and say, well, if you get the chip out your body at the last minute, then it's different, but it ain't gonna work that way, because back in the day, they was stating that this chip kind of dissolves in your body, kind of merges with your muscle tissue. Now, I don't know how that works, but allegedly they say it moves around the body. I don't know how true that is, but it ain't gonna be that simple, all right? Because the Heavenly Father, there's no workarounds with the Heavenly Father. It's straightforward, black and white, okay, whether you can receive it or not. And it says here, he taketh the wise in their own craftiness, so that their hands in the counsel of the fort is carried headlong. Yeah, this is the counsel of the fort, because they're not hiding anymore. It's either you take the chip or you don't. And those of us that's not gonna take the chip, then you better believe that we're gonna be enemy of the state, because they're gonna find out a way on how to demonize people, man. And they're gonna find a way on how to find out who didn't take it. Like with the whole Ovid thing, they had what they call contact tracing. If you came in contact with somebody, you had to call a local health department, so therefore they can put you down and put your ass on a database if they gotta quarantine you, because they made a big deal out of this fucking man-made bioweapon that they created, which had a 99.6% survival rate, and they made a big fucking deal about it. And anybody that didn't comply with it, you would lost your job or whatever it may have been. But the spirit was with us, because everybody I know that didn't take that goddamn jab, we still kept our jobs, man. All right. So yeah, same thing with the chip. Lord gonna provide a way out of no way. I believe that. So hey, the minute they come trying to push this thing, hey, I will gladly pack up my fucking bags and I will leave my job, whatever it be. Hey, we on a prowl at that point. It is what it is. Okay, we don't give a fuck, man. Hey, hurry up with it. That's the attitude I got. Let's get this thing on and pop it, because I'm tired of living in this wicked ass society anyway, being subjected to payments and all types of bullshit ass laws that don't equate to nothing but fucking oppression, bro. Jake tired of that shit. So yeah, come on, man. Fuck you waiting on, E.
Means their digital ID is not just proof of who they are, but it's also connected to things like their financial history, travel rights, and even their online activity. So what that means is, if the government doesn't like what they're doing, or doesn't like what they're saying online, or maybe what they're buying, they could restrict your ability to travel, to buy those things, or to access certain social services.
After being sued for defamation by the subject of a story he'd written, he was blacklisted. He only realized when he tried to buy a train ticket and was told he was banned from traveling.
If you didn't get a vaccine?
Yep, and that's basically a social credit score, you know? So based on how you behave and how you obey government mandates, they will put you, they will cipher you in the system, man. Like and say, well, you have a social credit score of a D-. Your only privilege is you can only buy $50 worth of tokens of groceries a month, and you have to have a curfew by 7:30. All right, you're not allowed to drive the train. Your vehicle won't work. Okay, which, you know, in most cases you need vehicles and train and bike transportations in order to get to work. And they understand that the average citizen is nothing but a 414 call out shot. The average citizen is nothing more but a muppet, a slave, and they're gonna give in order to work their little bullshit ass jobs. Well, you know, because they scare you with bills, eviction, rent, car note, taxes, locking you up. You know, they scare you with these things and put you on edge, so therefore you'll be forced to comply because you don't want to fall behind. Because anybody in this system knows falling behind on bills and medical bills and car payments and child support, it's really stressful. You know, if you allow it to be, it really can mess with your mind because it's just wicked as hell. It's so unjust. And Esau knows this. This is the reason why he set up these programs, man. All right.
That the government mandated? Sorry, you can't use public transportation.
They would immediately detect that and send you a notification, and they would deduct money from your what they call WeChat account. They use two main apps, WeChat and Alipay. So you can actually deduct your money directly from your account.
There were reports of elderly people and workers who were denied food and pensions because their fingerprint scanners stopped working. So if the system doesn't recognize you, you don't get food. It's kind of crazy.
I have to pass facial recognition identity verification, which is insane, because all I want to do is just spend my gift card balance on this debit card.
These are real world examples of how powerful.
Yeah, and that's you fucking people. That's you people fault. You the one that didn't, you the one that didn't fight back. You didn't push back, man. You know. So now, because you watched a video online about something that they didn't agree with, they can deduct from your social credit score, and now you just like a guinea pig. You can't do nothing. You know. That's what Esau wants. He wants a society full of zombies and robots, and he's already got that. Hell, you already got the people where you want them, you know? Verses 14, it says they meet with darkness in the daytime. Yeah, they wickedness, man. They don't give a damn. The scriptures say that he don't rest unless he calls some to fall. He don't rest unless he calls somebody to go off. It says, and grope in noonday as in the night, but he saved the poor from the sword and from their mouth and the hand of the mighty, so that the poor have hope, and iniquity stop at our mouth. So we gonna have hope, man. Okay, we gotta really believe that Yahweh Shah is gonna take care of us, and I believe he's gonna take care of us because the provisions are already set. Okay, so when this whole thing come to pass, brothers, don't be stressing out over it. Yeah, it can be very stressful because this is a drawn out process, and you know it's a build up to it. You know, you may have to go a month without laying your head a place. You might have to be on the prowl for a month, man. You may eat every other day. However the Lord gonna do, he's gonna make sure you're okay, man. All right, because it's gonna be the ultimate test of our faith. Some brothers are gonna be thrown in FEMA camps in order to, face persecution. That just was written. All right. Let me play a little bit more of this, and I get Whitney's video.
And dangerous this can be when your whole identity is digital.
Get the QuickBooks mobile app. Simply snap photos of receipts, tap, and sort transactions automatically. Categorize business and personal transactions with a swipe. Take care of business.
And this is just scratching the surface. Before I tell you how these systems can really be abused, what I found really interesting is just how fast they're putting these systems into place. Like, I don't remember anyone having this debate or even talking about it, and when they do, coverages sometimes.
Okay, so that's good on that. Let's go to her.
There's a lot of efforts being made to sort of people in the box of where they think, oh, well, if I vote for this party or this politician and this candidate, I don't have to do anything to ensure my independence from the system. I can remain dependent on the system and hope that politician XYZ will magically, save the day and fix the country and, end this ruling power of 80 plus years of, intelligence and organized crime. Yeah, I think it's really something that has to be sort of done on an individual level, and people need to take individual responsibility if they don't want to be part of this system, particularly as we move into this increasingly digital future that these very small handful of companies are going to completely control. Which kind of brings me to my other criticism in the aforementioned tweet about, claims that were made about my work. So Ian in that interview described some of my work on big tech CEOs, namely Peter Thiel. He used the word unhinged. He later said that he didn't mean to use that word and should have used a different word. But in the context of saying that, also said that my historical facing work, like on Epstein's history, was valuable, basically,
Yeah, and it all goes to the same thing, even though they were mentioning Epstein. Funny part about it is that this guy, Peter Thiel, which is over Palantir, you got this other guy named Peter Thiel, and it's the other clown, other bozo. I keep forgetting it, Alex Karp. I know for a fact Alex Karp was on the Epstein list. I ain't got no proof, but I just know. Peter Thiel's name came up, but these are the same people that's telling you gotta walk around with a chip in your goddamn hand, man, in your head. But yet you're able to peddle with little children. They the ones that need to have something in their goddamn hands, man, to monitor them, man. But see, that's what a guilty person would do. Esau, he likes to project. Okay.
More or less implied that my work on current figures is not, but actually my work on Peter Thiel is intimately connected to my work on Epstein, and in my book, One Nation Under Blackmail, I basically conclude with the point that someone like Epstein is no longer really relevant for intelligence services or organized crime networks or oligarch networks in the age of technology. And why is that? So back in the day, you have Epstein and a litany of other figures like him, which I detail figures in my book. He was obviously not an anomaly at all. But that type of sexual blackmail operation comes with a lot of risk. It takes a lot of money to finance the person who's running it, their mansion, their parties, paying off women, all of these money flows. It can be risky, and it certainly ended up being that in the Epstein case.
Have you ever wondered if buying something small could truly keep Israel?
Right, because he was he was discovered, arrested twice, and it obviously took a lot of money to cover things up, at least the first time, and arguably the second time as well. He ended up dead, so what's a better alternative? Well, if you have everyone onboarded onto digital systems that you control, like the CIA being at the origins of Google, DARPA being at the origins of Facebook, the CIA being at the origins of Oracle, and a lot of these other entities, Bill Gates and Microsoft having ties to the Maxwell family. What's a better alternative? Well, if you have everyone onboarded onto digital systems that you control, like the CIA being at the origins of Google, DARPA being at the origins of Facebook, the CIA being at the origins of Oracle, and a lot of these other entities, Bill Gates and Microsoft having ties to the Maxwell family as early as the late 90s and things like that. And obviously Gates and Epstein, what is that ultimately? I think, at this point in time, we've learned through either whistleblowers or other means that intelligence agencies access or can access pretty much any part of our digital footprint, no matter how secure.
Because the CIA got access to everything, man. That's why they sold our information. These private corporations, you have no privacy. Okay, that's what it boils down to. You have no privacy in this digital, in this coming setup, man. All right, so matter of fact, I'm gonna come back to that. Let's get Psalms 18. Psalms 18 and bingo, what we got? Let's look at Psalms 18, and I'm gonna start at verses. I think it's Psalms 17, Salakia. Psalm 17, and I'm gonna start at verses 10. It says, "They are enclosed in their own fat, and with their mouth they speak proudly." Yeah, because like I said, they're not really hiding it anymore. They're just coming out telling you what they're gonna do, and they got the people what they want, because the people are so docile to the point they don't even think twice. They just like, okay, it is what it is, And it says here, they have compassed us in our steps. They have set their eyes bowing down to the earth. Yeah, they satellites, the technology. Hell, you heard what she just mentioned about Facebook, Google, Microsoft, all ran by technocrats, man. And that's just what it boils down to. So these devils, man, like if a gunshot go off, they got something that can triangulate the signal of the gunshot, and they can kind of figure out where the gunshot came. That's done by particular forms of technology, man. Okay, with smartphone, all this shit, it's all planted to this beast system, man. It's all part of this digital setup. Okay, the cell phones wasn't meant to make your life easier. It was meant to convenience you mentally. So when the real thing came, because they're talking about 2030, they want to put the phone inside people. That was the whole plan. It wasn't because they wanted you to have a cell phone to contact your loved ones. They don't fuck about your loved ones. They don't care. But it says here, they have compassed us in our steps. They have set their eyes bowing down to the earth, like as a lion that is greedy of his prey, and as it were a young lion lurking in a secret place. Okay, so they're all around with this shit. You may not think they're watching, but they're watching everything we do, we say. This is why they're going to attack the internet. And it says, arise, O Yahweh, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword, from men which are thy hand, O Yahweh, from men of the world, which have their portion in this life, whose belly thou fillest with thy hid treasures. They are full of children, and leave the rest of their substance to their babes. Okay?
We tend to think it is, and that's like with revelations about, ostensibly secure messaging apps like Signal being compromised or having had some sort of military funding in its origins or what have you. It's much easier to suck up all of Americans' communications without a warrant, and that necessarily is in the hands of a lot of these same agencies with dubious track records that have engaged in blackmail in the past, like the CIA, for example. And so, with that kind of technology, you don't really need someone like Epstein anymore. Someone like Epstein becomes expendable because you can use technology for that. And I argue in the book that Peter Thiel's Palantir was basically a repurposing of this DARPA program called Total Information Awareness that was developed by the Iran-Contra criminal who was exonerated by William Barr when he covered Iran-Contra and other notable scandals of the era up in the first Bush administration.
All wicked men, globalists, man, technocrats, lower level luminaries. When you say globalists, I don't really like that word. I feel like when people say global, that's just a way to hide to say the Rothschilds, the elite. Say the Illuminati. Say them. Call them out by name.
Administration. Poindexter's considered the father of modern surveillance, and it was basically he was running this total information awareness program. Peter Thiel and Alex Karp came to him, being connected through Richard Pearl, who has longstanding ties to the state of Israel and also the U.S. neoconservative movement, and also Netanyahu. Basically, bringing those together, looking for a way to privatize total information awareness after it came under congressional scrutiny and was ultimately defunded by Congress because of private outrage that it would eliminate the constitutional right to privacy for all Americans, which is absolutely true. But the outrage disappeared when it was entirely a private company, and Palantir was incubated by the CIA. The CIA was its first customer for its several years. It was a client, and now it's a key part of, IDF AI mass slaughter in Gaza, and has been a key part of the U.S.-Israel relationship since then. But more specifically, domestically in the U.S., it is the engine on which the warrantless mass surveillance runs. It collects everything about everyone and makes it disposable to intelligence agencies, and it's very easy to find blackmail on people with an entity like Palantir being so widely used. The digital era has certainly changed things, and I think that's why it's very interesting that you have sort of Epstein, after his first arrest, pivot so much towards Silicon Valley and these, major Silicon Valley CEOs whose companies were built up with national security state involvement. You have someone like Epstein who was tied not just to sex blackmail, but arms trafficking and money laundering for intelligence, being involved with these people to a significant degree. I mean, some of these big tech CEOs like Sergey Brin and even Elon Musk were subpoenaed or attempted to be subpoenaed as part of the USVI JP Morgan case, for example, that was settled to keep the trial from happening, to keep all of that evidence out of court, arguably. but it's very problematic. And by the way, JP Morgan.
This $39 ionic air purifier eliminates all mold in 5 minutes, and nobody believes it's real.
Jamie Dimon. The reason Jamie Dimon is CEO of JP Morgan is because of two of these mega group billionaires, the Crown family and Leslie Wexner, because they installed him as head of this Bank One, that later merged with JP Morgan, and after the merger happened, Dimon's in charge of JP Morgan. So it's really shouldn't be any surprise that Epstein did so much banking for his, trafficking operations with JP Morgan in particular. But again, not a lot of interest in looking at that, but a lot of these entities have so much influence over so many industries. And so, again, I think just focusing on specific intelligence agencies, it's important to understand that there's a lot more going on than just that. And
so ultimately that's pretty much it, man. Bring out this last precept and I end it. Revelation 20, and I'm gonna start at verses 4, and it says, and I saw the thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given to them, and I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahushua and the word of the Most High, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received the mark upon their foreheads or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with Yahushua 1,000 years. Okay, so that's the point. Some brothers and sisters are gonna have to be beheaded for the word, man, and it is what it is. All right, but hey, count it all joy, because this man is getting ready to go down. Corinthians 2:11. 2 Corinthians 2:11. What we at, priest? It says, lest Satan get an advantage of us, for we're not ignorant of his devices. Okay? So with that, all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Lord's will, you will edify. Until the next lesson. Shalom.